Welcome to the Inside Texas YouTube channel powered by InsideTexas.com. My name is Joe Cook. I'm joined by Justin Wells. Justin, we got some pretty good recruiting news to talk about today. 2025 linebacker Anthony Williams from Pearland Shadow Creek has committed to the Longhorns. He is the first in-state addition to Texas 2025 class, along with KJ Lacey, Emery Winston, and then the defensive tackle from O'Galley in Florida, Brandon Brown. In-state edition, just tell me a little bit about what Anthony Williams means to the class and what type of player Texas can expect.
Yeah, this is a great get, Joe, because simply, he might be rated a 3-star, but this is one of the guys that Texas does really well on evaluations. That's why they don't pay attention to the star rankings. Yeah, sometimes you got to go for the big 4- and 5-star kids, but Anthony Williams has the potential to really fill out. He's got a frame. He's got the ability. He's got the motor. Often I bring up T'Vondre Sweat. He was a 3-star, and that guy is probably the best defensive tackle in college football this year. And so Anthony Williams is a guy that Texas has been in with for about a year. He started coming on campus for junior days last year. I believe it was around January and February. He came to Austin multiple times. He's got a teammate at Shadow Creek and Kobe Sellers that Texas is in on as well. And both are very highly on Texas. But Williams made his announcement today. He decided on New Year's Day he wanted to get all his resolutions in order, pick his college, and now you're going to get a guy that's going to work hard, 6'3", about 190. Like I said, he's got the moldable clay there. He's got a big frame. Dad played at Baylor, so he's got some good athletic genes there, and he's got a motor. This is a guy that bends the edge, and Texas is going to go pretty big on linebacker in 2025. They only took one last cycle, Anthony Smith. And this one is their first for this class. If this is the floor at linebacker, that's a nice wood floor.
Yeah, one of the things that I really like about what Texas does at linebacker is they get these really versatile players. There are some services that call him an edge, but his frame right now, that's not what he's going to do at the next level. But that's what he does for Shadow Creek often. And that's kind of like what Darian Gillette was at his high school career.
Good call.
That's a little bit what Anthony Hill was asked to do at Texas. They like these guys who, hey, if they have to keep them on the field, then they like them being able to do multiple things. And that's just what Anthony Williams fits into the mold of. You were able to talk to him, a little bit before his recruitment really picked up. What were your impressions of how he really thought about the Longhorns?
Anthony always liked Texas because he liked he was a kid that kind of liked Texas anyway, but he always liked him because of the defensive development. Over the last 2 years, he's seen Barron Sorrell's growth. He's seen Ethan Burke's growth. He's seen David Benda and Anthony Hill and those guys and Maurice Blackwell. And that development, he got to come early. I remember it was during the spring. He got to come for a practice. And he said he learned more in a hour practice working with, standing out there by the linebackers, and he even stood out with the defensive backs. He said he learned more in an hour than he had known in years. And so he's one of those kids that's just a sponge. And so Notre Dame came calling, Nebraska came calling, Auburn came calling, Oregon offered. The kid had 25-something offers, man. He became a coveted player. And I think he's actually going to I think his ranking's probably going to go up. I think with a good senior season, a good camp session, I think you're going to see a kid that's going to go up. But he just always really liked Texas. And once Texas started really engaging and building that relationship, I think that was kind of your foundation. Now, he built that with Jeff Choate, who we all know is going to be the new head football coach for Nevada. We couldn't be more happier for that guy. Choate the GOAT. He left Texas a lot better than he found it. And so you think, well, man, you're losing your linebacker coach. How are you landing a linebacker? Because there's other guys like Steve Sarkisian and Jeff Banks and Pete Kwiatkowski. These guys, it's a team effort. And that foundation that Texas set with him overcame them losing Jeff Choate. It overcame a lot of stuff. And this is a kid that's not going to mess around, Joe. He's done with recruiting. He's committed. He'll sign. He'll be on campus. This one's going to be an easy recruitment to follow for the next 12 months. Anthony knew where he wanted to go from the start. Texas offered him last year, I want to say in the summertime, like late July, early August. And I feel like at that point, it was Texas versus the field, and it was just going to be a matter of time. And then, like we said a couple of weeks ago, he hollered at us and let us know that he was ready for his decision. his New Year's resolution is he wants to be a member of the class of 2025. So he's already checking that box.
You go back to the 2023 class, and you've got was it Leona Lafau, who led a 3 or 4 man linebacker class, kind of depending on what Jelani McDonald does. They signed one in 2024 with Ty Anthony Smith.
All right.
This is number 1. How big do you think that linebacker class gets? Maybe around 3 or 4, or maybe it's something smaller than that. Where do you think the size of the 2025 linebacker class heads to?
I think it's at least 3. Because you're going to have to – you're losing Jalen Ford and David Benda, and I believe Blackwell will be a senior next year. And so you're going to have to restock the cupboard. And Jelani McDonald was essentially going to be a linebacker, and then he got on campus and people figured out that he's probably better in the secondary. And Jelani can do anything. You got Leon Lafau, and that's going to be a kid that's going to progress and work. And so I think the number has to be 3. And I think Texas in the position they're in now, playing in a college football playoff game, coming off a big special season, leading into next year, going into the SEC, I think they're going to be very judicious with their next few linebacker takes. These are going to be cherry picks, okay? They are not going to just take the best available guy in state. They're going to cherry pick. They're going to make sure this guy's a culture fit and he's a physical fit. And so I think the number is going to be 3 at least. If a big-time kid came through, and it made it a numbers buster at 4, I wouldn't be surprised at all. But they're going to have to replenish that cupboard, because you can't leave Anthony Hill out there by himself, and he's about to lose a bunch of his teammates. And so I say it's at least 3, and the right player could make it 4.
We'll keep talking about Anthony Williams in just a second. Before we do, we got to mention our friend Andre the Lawyer, a longtime Inside Texas user. Andre the Lawyer never takes more than his clients. No win, no pay, no upfront costs. His principal office is in Dallas, Texas, and he's been representing injured Longhorns throughout the state of Texas. Every client gets a personalized text message so that they can contact the team and get direct access to their lawyer all day and all night. Call Andre the Lawyer at 214-444-8808. Car wrecks, 18-wheeler accidents, slips and falls, on-the-job injuries, wrongful deaths. Call Andre the Lawyer at 214-444-8808. Justin, something that I think that's kind of worth noting, and that we talked about to kind of lead off the show, is the fact that this is the first recruit from within the state of Texas for the 2025 class. He had 3 guys from out of state, one from Alabama, one from Florida, and then another from Florida. Jump into the fold, but now you finally have somebody from Texas. What's it going to be like for Anthony Williams being in the state of Georgia, Florida, Alabama?
I was going to help you out.
I know. What's it like for Anthony Williams now being that first guy in the Houston area at a well-known high school football program who's going to be looked to for Steve Sarkisian and helping him with some of his in-state efforts in this cycle?
Man, listen, Sark has shown a penchant for going everywhere and anywhere. He opened some pipelines to major programs, Duncanville, DeSoto, Mater Dei, St. Thomas Aquinas, John Bosco. Like they've opened up these big pipelines. Well, Shadow Creek's got some real dudes coming up. They're in that Pearland, Alvin area. I think with Manville. And there's always talent in that spot. And like I said, Anthony's really close to a corner, 4-star corner named Kobe Sellers, who's on the big board for Texas. And so this gets you into Shadow Creek. There's some other really good, talented guys there. They got a safety, Isaiah Williams, I think, is a tremendous kid as well. And so you get into Houston. We've seen a lot of Texas in DFW. We've seen a lot of Texas in Central Texas, and they've even dipped their toe a little bit in East Texas. We haven't seen near as much in Houston, a little bit in North Houston. They've hit the Humble area and Conroe and stuff, and Klein and stuff like that. But this gets you on the other side of the Beltway, and I think that's big because there is talent all over the city of Houston, and that's predominantly a LSU, Texas A&M territory, to be honest. And so I like Texas taking this guy. I like that he's a 3-star, and they don't care about his ranking. Watch his tape. He gets to the quarterback, and in this day and age, that is incredibly important. Here's something else this kid can do. He can cover in space, and that is what separates, to me, the new linebackers with the old linebackers, because you're going to have to shoot gaps. You're going to have to get out of the wash. You're going to have to be able to stay with your block. But at the same time, you're going to have to get to the quarterback. You're going to have to cover in space. Anthony Williams can do these things. He's athletic. He's 190. I think he could get to be 230, 235 and be really, really solid after a couple of years in Austin. But yeah, they're dipping their toe back in Houston. They're solidifying, another spot, another program. Listen, Shadow Creek's they're coming up more. They've got more talent along the way. That whole area down there, and I think it's cyclical. Right now, DFW feels like they have most of the big teams, your state champions of late, but it's cyclical, Joe. In due time, Katie's going to come back up. And North Shore's always feels like they're going to be up. And so if you can make sure you maintain those pipelines in Houston, I think that's just being smart. They love this kid for well over a year. They took their time. This was a great evaluation, and it allows them to look on the other side of Houston, a little bit south now, and try to grab some of those guys. They love Tyler Thomas out of Dickinson. If we want to go South Houston a little bit more south. They like Tyler Thomas at Dickinson, and they like Jonah Williams, a linebacker safety out of Galveston Ball. And so I think they're just stretching their reach a little bit more. They're looking for particular guys. And I said this earlier, Texas had a really special season this year, and they're not done yet. And I feel like that's going to lead to a tremendous 2025 class. Like a lot of people thought, well, this great season is going to help you with 2024. That's not usually how it works. Those relationships have been built for over 2 years. What it's going to help you with is 2025. And I think you remember, like I do, Mac Brown coming off a big win, big seasons. It was like shooting fish in a barrel. Like Mac just picked who he wanted. Sark is creeping into that territory. He's got a great staff. There's a lot of continuity with these guys. They've got some really ace recruiters at really specific spots. And the fact that they can land a linebacker in a really fertile area of Houston without a linebacker coach, to me, that speaks volumes.
Yeah, I'm with you there. And I think it's just it helps to be able to go into these programs that are always going to be producing. I think this is 3 straight cycles now that they've gotten teammates because that they're going to look to get teammates. Yes, especially with Kobe Stellers. So
good call.
You go in the 2023 class, you have Arch Manning and Will Randall. The 2022 class or the 2024 class, you had Duncanville with Alex January and Colin Simmons. And this is a school that you don't mind taking teammates, especially when they're both quality prospects.
Don't forget Sock. Don't forget the Sock boys, Malik Muhammad and Billy Walton. You're on to something, Joseph.
Billy Walton, not Billy Williams, and Malik Muhammad. So getting teammates getting teammates is always a good thing, and especially when you're just upping the talent level and you're building a little bit of a pipeline and inroads into certain talented schools. Justin, I think that's about it on Anthony Williams as we are gearing up for a big man. As we're gearing up for a really big day. Anything else for the people?
No, man, just enjoy the playoffs. Enjoy the Sugar Bowl. Soak it up. No idea when Texas will be back or what's in store in the future, but enjoy it. Like, I think Texas and Washington is going to be the best bowl game of the year. I think it's an incredible matchup. I think both teams have some confidence going into this. Both teams have poked the bear of the other school a little bit as well. They've got a little bit of that, hey, we played each other last year, still, trying to wear off. Texas is in a good spot, and you got to make sure and tune in to Inside Texas. You have to make sure to like and subscribe to Inside Texas Football YouTube channel to get all your updates. We're going to continue to churn these out. This won't be the last commitment for 2025. It is the first in state. They started in Alabama, then they jumped to Georgia, then they hit Florida, just like an SEC school. Now they're going into Texas and start to solidify the floor of what they want this 2025 class to be. And I think Anthony Williams is a fantastic ad.
I could not have said it better myself. Justin, thank you so much. I'm Joe Cook. We will see you next time on the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel powered by InsideTexas.com.